Okay, we'll call this meeting to order. Will everyone please rise to the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. One nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please. Here. 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 Everybody had a chance to look at the agenda? Any additions? I have a motion to approve the agenda.
Make motion.
I have a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Move on to approval of the minutes from the July 18th, 2023 meeting. Are there any additions or corrections people would like to make into these? Any of the council members? I have a motion to accept the minutes from the July 18th, 2023 meeting.
Make motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we'll move on to approval of the bills. We had deposits in the amount of $138,036.29. Accounts payable were $62,213.50. Payroll in the amount of $42,275.54. And transmittals in the amount of $16,729.80. Do I have a motion to approve the financial transactions as read?
I'll make a motion.
That was second.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we'll move on to correspondence. And I'll start it off with the cemetery road's going to be closed. One on the south side of the cemetery will be closed Thursday through Sunday. They're going to start rebuilding the road up there. The cemetery board has come up with a contractor to do this. It'll be built up and straightened towards the end. That's all on private property with a portion of it gets into city property, and then the cemetery is town property. But the cemetery board is taking care of all this. There'll be a barricade up. While this is closed, they will have the north entrance open. If anybody's been over there, you take Chatterton, you go around the sawmill to the east, and it's up on the hill, and you'll be able to enter the cemetery that way. If you do go out this way, be very, very careful because there will be construction going on. Okay, the next thing, Marie, we just got this in too.
So today we got an advisory that there's cyanobacteria bloom at the Saratoga Lake. Avoid contact with the water in the vicinity of the bloom, especially in areas where cyanobacteria are dense and form scums. Do not ingest water from the bloom. Boiling filtration and or other treatments will not remove the toxins. Rinse fish with clean water and eat only the fillet portion. Avoid water spray from the bloom. Do not allow pets or livestock to drink water near the bloom. Eat bloom material or lick fur after contact. And if you do come in contact with the bloom, rinse off with clean water as soon as possible and contact a doctor or veterinarian. If you have any questions, they can be directed to Portland Filming, Surveillance, Epidemiologist, Wyoming Department of Health.
Okay, we'll get this. Like I said, we just got this tonight. It'll be posted out at the lake, probably in a few places around town. And hopefully the newspaper and the radio station will help us out on this and get this out and about. All right, anything else in correspondence? Okay, we'll move on from items of the public, and the first thing we have is the Valley Auto Club. If you, Mr. Bill, if you want to come forward. Thank you. I have the president of the. Please, both of you.
Just the Flint Valley Auto Club, I'd like to make a donation to the Saratoga Police Department. This is the president of the car club. Nick,
We're just gonna donate $500 to the Saratoga Police Department.
Well, that is great. We greatly appreciate that. If you want to take it, Mike.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank
Thank
you
you,
for your
guys.
support to our police department. And the next item I'll bring up, and the next two. The first one is Justin and Shelley Peterson. They just purchased some property, and the property they purchased was 112 and 202 North Veterans. They have, problem is there's a storm drain that the town isn't installed. And there was a lease agreement on it and everything, and it runs right through the middle of these two properties. And their future plans are to build a house right over the top of this. Well, they approached me, talked to me about it. I told them I'd bring it up at the council meeting. Since then, they've informed me that they've reached out to Engineer Associates to see about moving the storm drain, what it's going to cost to the south. They'd be more than happy to give it to the south end of their property. And I told them that I would just make the council aware of this. They'll be approaching us over time to possibly do this. And I told them that we would probably work with them, but I wanted to get that out in the open so the council members, when they do show up, will have a little bit of an idea. But they're going to look at putting some more drain sumps in along the road so they can extend it. And then the next item I have from the public is town-owned land on Myrtle. I have been approached by two people now asking if the town would be interested in selling this. I told them I would bring it to the town tonight. There's a long process in this. Not only would we have to go out for bid on it, but it would also inquire probably one and maybe two public hearings rather than just sell the property. I guess what I'm asking the council is, do they want me to proceed with the process of seeing what it entails? You sell this property, not saying we're gonna sell, but to see what it entails, get the town attorney involved and see exactly what we have to do.
I'd be for that. Yeah, I don't think it's a bad idea to look into what it takes anyways.
Okay?
Where is the property?
It's, you know where the new subdivision went that the Saratoga Inn putting in on Veterans? Myrtle Street goes off of it. The town owns an L-shaped pattern. It comes down like this. And Myrtle Street would run right here. The town owns something like this. The rest of the property belongs to the Saratoga Inn. I've been approached by one property owner that said they thought they set that aside a long time ago for a green space. It's just everything we got to look into, but inside, and these aren't developers that's asking to look at this property. One second. These aren't developers. These are people that are looking for lots in town. So from what we can tell, Emery and I looked again today, this is not platted. It is, I think it was 2.3 acres when it was surveyed, when they was wanting to do the land swap. So that is something that everything's got to be addressed. We just need to find out more history on this and then see what the possibilities of selling it are and how to go about it. Go ahead.
Do we start with an estimate on what this is gonna?
Well, they appraised it,
Not the land, but the effort it would take to find out.
I can get, most of it'll be through the county research. Kylie would just have to give us the particulars and draw up the contract and everything if we so chose to move forward on. I've never actually done it. I just know that it'll go out to bid to the highest bidder. I don't know if you do it in an open auction. I don't know if you do it with concealed bid or sealed bid. I don't know. Well, whatever, I was approached. I wanted to ask the council if they wanted me to pursue it or just set on the land. I
think
guess
it's a
that's
good
what I'm
idea.
asking.
To look at it. Not doing us any good.
It would be great if I could get this in a motion, if the council's in favor of looking forward. Before I do that, McCall, you had a point to make?
Since that land in the 2016 comp plan was slated as open space, would it be possible if that land was sold, that money could be earmarked to go to park development or something else recreational, some other recreational development?
It would have to be, we could discuss that, but the money would actually enter the general fund and that would all be taken care of in the next year's budget. So, yes, you could.
You're removing potential open space from the community, so it seems like maybe there should be then some sort of trade-off that the community would benefit from that.
It could, yes, that, we could discuss that, put that into the idea of if we do decide to sell. I mean, you're probably getting into the winter months before this would ever, time we have public hearings but yeah, something like that, it could be set aside for even another green area, maybe something to do with when we, depending on how the trails package goes with and everything, it could be set aside for stuff like that. Yeah, the council could, but if we didn't get it spent, the next council doesn't have to follow that. So, but there's a lot of options we can do with that. So, anyway, if I can get a motion, I'll pursue this forward some.
I'll make a motion to look into what it would take. What all it entails.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, opposed? Okay, and we have one more item. I think D-Ron Campbell, you have something you want to bring up? Is this?
Mr. Mayor and Council, Deron Campbell, I'm representing the Hotel Wolf tonight. I want to bring something to your attention that I don't think you know about. The backstory on the pickleball tournament and the request for 52 stack boxes. We were approached to make 52 stack boxes for the tournament. There was never really a follow through. When we asked, hey, what cookies do you want to go with it? The response was, there was not a response. So the Wolf thought that they had the bid to make the boxes. So my staff, inventory, and labor made 52 lunch boxes for the tournament. When they asked if they were going to pick them up, they said, oh, we went in a different direction, so we're not going to pick those up. So I'm not asking for any monetary compensation, but I want you to know the backstory. Because we were out inventory and labor. And then when I responded to your rec commission, they said, yeah, no, we didn't go that direction and we didn't have an agreement and sorry. And the last response and why I'm here is they said, as a business, I think it would be best to confirm prior to 10:45 the night before the event that we indeed are going with you.
Okay. Who were you discussing this with?
A member of the rec commission, do you want the name?
I would like to have.
Amber.
I have a response. I may.
Okay.
I have a text thread So this is from Amber to Noel. Deron gave me your number. This is Amber Waldron. I'm on the Town of Saratoga's rec board. And we're wondering if you'd be interested in quoting us 52 lunches for a pickleball tournament on July 22nd. We're thinking sandwich, chips, and a treat. Please let me know if you'd be interested. Thank you. Noel's response, hi Amber, what time are you looking to pick up the lunches and will this be tax exempt? We can do a ham and cheddar sandwich with lettuce and tomato and mustard and mayo on the side with the chips in either a sugar cookie or chocolate chip cookie. Your choice for $14 a person. Amber's response was, I could pick up whenever that day. And yes, it's for town. And then the reply later is, we thought so that the price is tax-free and will 10:30 pick up. And that's how it reads. And will 10:30 pick up? Which cookie would you prefer? 10:30 is great, is Amber's response. Let me present the bid to the rest of the board. Sounds good is Noel's response. And this was all June 29th. And then a week later, Noel messages Amber and says, hi there, we're getting ready to place some orders, just checking in to make sure we are a go. And if so, what type of cookies have you decided on? Amber's did not reply. She had not heard anything back. So then I think they called late the night before the event saying, when are you going to come pick up the stuff? You didn't let us know that you went a different direction. So she had not heard from them for a week and she had not notified them. So and I do admit that there was maybe a miscommunication, but we were asked to bid. You were asked to bid.
But according to that conversation that you just quoted, they were in communication to go through with the lunches.
No, there was a hold. Let me present the bid to the rest of the board. And Noel's response was, sounds good. So then a full week passes, and this is actually 3 weeks before the event. It seems strange that you would order sandwiches and things, place an order 3 weeks ahead of time.
Kathy, we're in a small town. That sounds like an agreement, according to what you just read on
There's
your.
no confirmation, Deron. There's no confirmation that we went with your bid. She apologized that she did not let her know that, no, we did not, but she never said, please go ahead. There was never an agreement to go ahead. And your employee did not call back and confirm, is it a yes or no? There is
So you're
no
putting
go
the
ahead.
onus on the business and not on the staff.
Absolutely. Absolutely. As a business owner, if I'm responsible for purchasing food, I think I would call the person who asked me for a bid to confirm.
I still contend that what you just said with that email trail or text trail was that they were in conversation to order and make meals.
And her
I mean,
last response was, I need to go to the board. I need to go to the board.
Did she tell you that direct?
She said, I did not respond because I presented the rest of the bids to the board and I said, that's fine. But then she said it was on us and not on the rec board.
So you never heard anything after that's fine.
Correct.
After that's fine. What?
Until 10:45.
So the 7th was the last time that Noelle reached out and she said, I need to go to the board. Amber said, I need to go to the board. And then
So again,
nothing was,
my question is, you went out for bid for all of these things.
yes,
And according to governmental rules, did you take the lowest?
yes.
Why did you not go back to everyone you presented bids to?
I was not managing this, but she did go back and notify. She thought that she had texted her and let her know, sorry, we went a different direction. But she had not heard back from her until this is 3 weeks before that 10:45, the night before the event, they call her at night, the night before, and say, where do you want your boxes? And this is where this went. Then Deron got involved and the text here is sort of taken out of context because you didn't give any of this past history here. But
I just asked for how can we rectify this? And this is what I got.
yeah, it was the rec board is going to be required to rectify the situation. The
I
wolf
just
is out.
asked for some rectification and I got nothing. Other than it was our problem, not.
Well, it doesn't actually say that. It says, I feel very bad and I do apologize. The misunderstanding was between Noel and Amber. So if nobody let her know 2 weeks before, the week before, until the night before at 10:45, that seems a little unprofessional also.
I think this is just bad business.
Well, I agree, bad business on both sides. A better business would communicate better with someone who's potentially paying them a good amount of money. So I apologize that there was a misunderstanding, but I mean, according to the text string here, she asked if it was a go and I did not respond. That was her response. And I just read the whole response. And then it was, it's fine. I can write a letter to the board and approach town council. And that was your
That's where I am.
response.
Mhm.
And she said that is just fine. So,
But the last part,
and as a business, I think it would be best to confirm prior to 10:45 PM the night before the event. I agree with that. I think it's unprofessional to contact people at almost 11 PM the night before an event. And your response was, wow.
well, yeah.
Yeah. So I can see how this misunderstanding is, it's unfortunate. It was not intentional. And she was working with multiple people to get a bid. The word bid was always used, never the word award. If Noelle made that assumption and did not actually get a confirmation, then she shouldn't have ordered the food, in my opinion. And if you want us to pay for it, if that,
I'm not
that's not what you're asking.
No, she's not
You
asking.
want-
For awareness.
Okay, and you've brought it to our attention, but I think that.
But you're the only one that's speaking. Do I have anything from anyone else on the board?
Well,
We didn't know anything about it. In my opinion, this whole thing's been a fiasco since the first. It should have went through the council. You can't do this Lone Ranger stuff. It needs to go through the council and then there's more people involved and we can make a better decision.
Okay,
Yes.
well, I think that as a council liaison to this department, as we were planning the event, we let people know, we went through the right avenues to get the permitting. We were trying to provide food and drinks and the t-shirts for the event. I have the approval I have the authority to approve those types of purchases. And it's my understanding now that we can't spend money for the events. We can't spend money to make money. So we're not going to go that direction anymore. We're going to reevaluate the whole process. But nobody did anything cowboy. We were planning. We communicated with everybody. That's the purpose of a rec commission, is to do those types of planning events. And we have committees to do that. We put a lot of time and effort into this. We had a successful event. And unfortunately, the Wolf was the only business that assumed that they were going to get the bid and that they were supposed to move ahead and make the boxes. I'm sorry that happened, but I really do believe that Amber was as communicative and straightforward as she could be. And she did apologize for not confirming, no, you did not get the bid. But likewise, your employee did not contact her and say, I need to confirm before I place this order. So we know the whole story. We have a different process we're going to follow moving forward. After the last debacle with understanding, can you buy things? Can you sell things? Can you only do donations? We're going to step back and we're not going to purchase anything anymore at this point until we have a clear understanding of the path forward.
well, I don't think the council ever denied spending money if it's done appropriately. There was questions asked in which the attorney responded to on lunches, that the town would buy, on shirts the town would buy, but that's not brought up into this. Listening to the emails, I didn't catch the last part of it, but that one sounded like maybe D-Ron did have it. But then you read again that she had to respond back, so to the board. So it does sound like a whole bunch of miscommunication, but it doesn't, in one way, it doesn't make the rec board look good. And yeah, and I can see your point a little bit that they should have maybe asked out prior to that, but I can see both sides, I guess. What I'm looking at.
My point of view.
Ron, as the mayor, I would like to apologize for the misunderstanding of all this. And
And like I said, we're not looking for anything monetary. I just wanted to bring it to your attention. It seems like you have a rogue recreation board or commission. And
I will say
That would be my
that,
assessment as well.
I will say that the emails, when all of the quotes were sent out, all the bids, an explanation of what we were doing for the activities, Chuck was copied on all of those emails.
well, that's fine, but I also looked at the letter that the Saratoga Sun wrote. And I watched the council meeting. And there are a lot of things that are going on behind closed doors from council on a recreation commission.
It's not actually behind closed doors.
Kind of
We
is.
we have a level of authority for approval on
Right,
purchases.
but
So we're
for you,
planning.
but for you to be on the board and to say that you can approve things less than $1,000 without going to anybody is
That's not true.
suspect.
We went to multiple places for bids. Yours just did not get it.
And we were not aware of that.
And you weren't aware that you did get it. So there, it goes both ways. I apologize for the miscommunication. Amber apologized for the miscommunication. I don't know what else you want from
No,
us.
I guess I
When I just.
I guess I don't
that we're
appreciate.
reassessing.
I guess I don't appreciate that you put the onus on the business, local business, over your recreation commission.
If you're doing business with.
Oh, don't even.
If you're doing business with someone, if I, as an individual, go to a business or 6 of them and say, please provide me a quote, you have the potential to make the money, right? So I go to you and say, please provide me a quote. And it's my responsibility, since I'm paying you, to follow up and make sure that you know that you won or you didn't win. It seems to me that the business would be the responsible party to come back and say, you're giving me the opportunity for you to pay me for a service.
that's not,
Wow, this is pandering like.
that's not
no out,
necessarily
so
true, but
Thank you very much.
thank you, but
Thank you, D-Ron, very
I
much.
should be wrong. Any other items from the public? Okay, we'll move on to reports from department or council comments. Excuse me, I always skip that one. Any council comments? Well, I have one. And it's not quite prepared. I've been in contact with the county attorney, or not the county attorney, the city attorney. And working on an ordinance change. And we're gonna try to follow. And it'll be presented to the public and to the council too. We're gonna try to follow what we consider as Wham's suggestion. And it will probably be not just one board, not just a certain board, but all boards. Council members will be taken away from the board. They will not be voting members. This is an ordinance I'm working on, and I'll present it to everybody when it's done. McCall was aware of it simply because she hosted some training for her people, and even people that hosted her, provided her training, also said that council members and commissioners shouldn't be on board. Lamb suggests that. So I think it might make it easier. And maybe it won't, but it's something that I think we're gonna look into. I'm gonna ask the council to look at it. And we'll move forward from there. You'll still be a liaison, but I'll still appoint a liaison. But you'll sit in the audience, you won't sit with the board, you won't be a voting member. You can still provide suggestions and stuff like that. And you'll know what the board's doing. Okay, so you can, and then they can elect the person from their board that will come in and tell us what's going on. With the rec department, it'll be, of course, the new rec director, who's not with us tonight. And the planning commission will be the chairman, which is McCall. The airport board, for example, will probably be me or Brenda from the town hall. Brenda can give an update on what the airport board is doing as well as I can, because she's their secretary. She provides their minutes, but that's the type of ordinance I'm looking at. The joint powers board will be something to the same effect. Now that we have Emery in place, Emery will set the board and be a voting member and also report back to the council. But that's trying to get it into a flow. And, it's not also fair to all the council members always have to go to every meeting and stuff like that, but they'll still be, like Jacob will still be the liaison to the joint powers board. Kathy will be the liaison to the recreation board. You just won't sit with the board and be a voting member. That's the type of stuff I'm looking at in this ordinance, and it's not quite done yet. Allie's got a rough draft of it. So that's what I have for council comments. Anybody else? And then one other thing to add to that is we are not cutting back on allowing the recreation board to spend money. Okay, what we're looking at is, can you buy shirts? Can you buy food? Can you do this? It's highly recommended we don't do stuff like that by the attorney. So that's the type of stuff we're looking at. Okay, that's the type of stuff, because I don't want to get the town into trouble. And it's different when it's your money or my money, but when we're spending everybody's money, we have to do things the right way. And not everybody in town would agree that we should provide lunch for the pickleball tournament. Not everyone would agree that we should provide lunch for anybody, and that's what I look at. I'm trying to do what's best for the town of Saratoga, and spending everybody's taxpayers' money that elected us, and spending their money is, we have to do it rationally and do it right and spend it somewhat in the direction they want. I think most people in town want a recreation board. They want an airport board. They want all this, but you still got to spend their money right. Do you have something to input, Amber?
So I have a question, gonna say, you're in the form of like a fundraiser, right? Like the fire department has their pancake breakfast, they're spending money to feed people to raise money. So if they come in the form of a fundraiser, the money's all getting made back.
Do you know where they get their money from? They get their money for their pancake breakfast, I'm pretty sure, out of their private fund.
It doesn't the town.
We don't fund it. They never come to us for pancake breakfast.
We don't.
We give them money for fire department hoses,
So
equipment,
you're
trucks.
saying Rec department would have to fundraise money
If
so that
they can have their own private fund, they can have their own private fund. Yes, they can. And then out of that fund, yeah, we probably will.
It's a 501(c)(3).
Explain.
Fire department is filed under a 501(c)(3). It is separate from the town. That's why they're able to do it.
So they raise money through a nonprofit
Correct.
currency, like that's how they can take that money and put it wherever they want.
Correct.
So it's not an account.
Rec department was a 501(c)(3). That was that you have to the rec department 501(c)(3), and then
I would have, that's a question I couldn't answer without talking to it. I don't know if you can.
The requirement or the expectations of the rec department, like if they're hosting a 5K, everybody wants a T-shirt from the 5K that they ran. I see that is unique to the rec.
And what they've done in the past is they covered that, some of that with their entrance fee and that. So,
But I think the pickleball tournament
Yeah, I didn't know that.
covered all of their.
and
It covered.
it covered it. That's what was explained to me. And that's the agreement we talked about at the last council meeting because of what Kylie had said.
You know, I know it's a unique situation because the rec departments is unique. They're hosting fun things and they want to be giving away fun things and they want food.
Sure.
That as part of the recreational thing. It feels like those are frivolous things. I think that by making them, you know, by discounting them, I feel like you're doing a disservice to what the rec department is trying to accomplish by creating community events. Often revolve around food.
I disagree. I don't think that's what we're trying to stop. It's the way that money is it should be handled properly per, you know, and you make a good argument, McCall, but I'm a firm believer that we can't take town money and buy food and drinks for people that's involved with the rec department or a luau or Kylie said the best you could do that she would feel comfortable in saying would okay is if we did 100-year anniversary for the town of Encampment or town of Saratoga, for example, and we provided a barbecue. That would be the only thing. It'd have to be one great big special event that included the entire town. Is how she felt it would be comfortable.
She actually said if it's donated only, because it's considered gifting, you cannot gift. So our thing was we were purchasing lunches not to give, but to sell. So it was a reimbursement. We were going to have food available for people to buy as they were participating. And
if you didn't sell
attending.
52 sack lunches, the town was going to make up the difference in that money.
Yeah.
So yes, we were gifting. That's how that went down. And
Yeah.
that's where it got bad.
Well, and that's my point in responding to Kylie and to you all is understanding what our limitations are and understanding, because I want to make it clear that the people who put on those two events, we put a lot of time and effort into that for free. We did that because we want to offer our community members something. We don't get anything from it. We don't gain any personal praise. And I mean, we're being criticized now, it feels like, for trying to put something on. So we don't intentionally try to sneak behind doors and have secret meetings to do this kind of thing. We're having events, and we had almost 400 people show up at those two events on a really busy weekend. We had really happy people there. So it's sort of discouraging when we're getting the beat down over this, when we're trying to go in the right direction and do it correctly.
Did anyone complain that the town spent money? Because we were at the luau and it was amazing. There were so many community members there. It was a really lovely event, and I would love to see more of them, but it seems like that's going to be pretty, maybe not in the future. That there's just no support for those sorts of events. And so I'm confused as, did anyone specifically complain that someone put on a luau or that we put on a pickleball tournament? Or are we just looking that there's like gray area that maybe the attorney says that?
No, McCall, there's no gray area there. If that attorney tells me that this is not good, guess who I'm going to listen to? I'm going to listen to the attorney because we paid her to keep us out of trouble.
It's okay with the rec department spending money on a pickleball tournament and a luau. Then what's the problem? The town has requested that.
What did the town spend? The town allow 3 people to go in there and swim. Okay. We didn't charge that night, correct? Am I correct? We paid the lifeguards' wages. We didn't complain, so it's not free from the town. I mean, we contributed that way. Too.
Yeah, but if the town also will support t-shirts for a 5K or a tournament. And I feel like until anyone complains about it, it's not specifically illegal. If the town is okay with us spending that money that way, then what's the problem? Has anybody complained about it?
The way, and we did get some complaint, but it was the way the shirts come across first, the sack lunches come out, that we would make up the difference, the town would. That's where people complain. Because we don't think it's right. And I don't think it's right for me to say, okay, and I'll just use Miss Campbell for an example. If I pay, okay, say we had sold $200 worth of sack lunches, that would have left $580. Okay, that we had to pay out of the town's funds. Is everybody comfortable that live in this town of me saying we're gonna pay $580 for lunches? That's where I'm at.
If it's in the rec department budget, the host event, and there's a budget list, a line that says
Is there,
staff services for
there's
events.
not
in the town.
there-
I think that's
is there a line item for food? No. Is there a line item for
If there were-
gifting?
If there were for hosting events, would then it be okay? So the next year's budget.
If you could ever get a pass to a budget, possibly. I doubt if Cassell has anything for that, for food or something like that. I don't know. But that's what I'm after. You know, you have to be able to show what this money's being spent for, and you just can't have an event.
No one's against having the events. It's just they have to be handled properly from the get-go.
Well, was this not handled properly?
The first we heard about it was,
Well, you know, you can throw out a couple of examples on this, whether it was handled properly or not, okay? The 5K run, the t-shirts, the Pee Wee basketball, they had over 100 people. That was all brought to the council prior to the event. And it was approved by the council
and prior to purchase.
and prior to purchase.
Isn't our department has allowed to spend $1,000 without the council approval?
That's what the policy says, but think about what you're spending it on, you know? I mean, yeah, they come in and need pickleball nets or they need new gym equipment or something like that. That's one thing, because we support that. But when you come in and just say, oh, I approve these $780 to be paid out if we don't sell a sack lunch. No, information like that needs to be brought back to the council on something like that, even with the policy.
I was just informed that the Wolf's bid was lower than what was awarded.
Oh,
The award was $13 per box.
you know, see, that's where we run into problems. I'm not saying it would have been done differently. Maybe now that we have a rec director, it can be followed up more closely. You know, it's hard. You talk about volunteers, Honestly, we're volunteers. But I don't mind it a bit.
So that when the rec department put out a survey last year, the community requested more events. And it feels like a part of the events are these sorts of things.
When was the survey put out?
Fall.
That's fall.
Through the rec department on the.
Didn't know anything about it.
The results are supposed to be on the website. They were posted on the rec department website.
I don't know, maybe.
We discussed it at length.
Can host events, or I guess you can decide that events aren't a thing that the town can host. I mean, either way, I guess.
You know,
It seems like the community really likes.
maybe if they were presented more correctly, maybe the town would have a different outlook on this.
We have to figure out what.
Right.
Maybe you ought to follow, maybe prime example. Does it hurt to ask questions? You talk about communication, does it hurt? Because if somebody had come to me and told me they wanted to purchase, how many ever shirts you purchased? 57, I think. I would have said, on something like that, that needs to go before the council.
For all those emails.
I have 10,000 emails a day.
Well,
And
you just criticized for non-communication, so we
Yeah,
were communicating.
I do, and I read that. I thought maybe they might be on the red. As far as the lunches, I knew you went out to bid for
I mean, it was all an email, all an email.
I think the council needs to figure out whether or not they want to trust.
them. I think you probably ought to sit down and be quiet for right now, and we'll move forward with our meeting.
That's
Thank
not
you very
okay.
much.
That's not okay.
Yes, it is.
She can voice her
I-
opinion.
And I can shut the council down because we're hung up on this spot. I can shut it down at any time.
I disagree with that. I
Well,
think
I'm
that
sorry.
anyone in our community should be free to come up to this podium and speak their
And I
mind
agree.
and criticize or ask questions
And-
or give constructive without being
I agree.
attacked like the
But
last
she
meeting.
keeps asking the same question over and
It's an
over
important
and
question.
over again.
So we would maybe
Is the
like,
council flawless, Kathy?
no,
No, we by far are not flawless.
but we're being put in front of everyone and sort of attacked for what this effort that we're trying to make.
Mhm.
And when I reply to an email, I would like you to provide me examples of what I should do or training or give me some examples over and over. And I asked that.
Oh.
I don't get responses. I get
No.
no. The answer is no. Kindly
One time
answer-
you gotta know.
No, and the emails pertaining to this, Chuck.
They,
Bottom line is we serve the community.
yes, you do.
If there are people in this room that want to say something, let them say it. Don't shut them up. And don't attack them when they come up
And
here
I-
and ask a question. You
I didn't
attacked,
attack nobody.
you attacked someone in the last meeting
Yeah, I did.
and that you just admitted.
No,
you
I
did.
have the right because he was attacking us.
No,
Yes, he
no,
was.
no.
Yes, I do.
He was asking questions about right of way.
And
you
I told,
attacked the way that he manages his own private property. That's not okay.
it's sitting in the public roadway. So what's the difference? That's our property, not
Well,
his.
I
property.
just don't think that was handled professionally, and I think we should not set a precedent where we discourage people by this kind of behavior from getting up here and talking. Deron said her piece.
And you
And it-
went right
and it was-
after her.
Yeah, and I answered her because this was taken out of context.
I don't see where it was, but that's my opinion.
Okay,
Anyway.
well, I think that I just want the community to know that I feel strongly that anyone should feel free and safe to speak their mind
And-
for as long as they want.
No, I disagree with as long as they want, because it's the same thing we're going over and over again. To get through a council meeting, you have to say enough's enough.
And
Exactly.
provide an answer. Instead of
And we
saying,
have.
you need to be quiet and sit down,
Yes,
maybe I will find out what we need to do to
why
make,
don't you
to
do
provide a
that?
solution.
We'll put that on your
For
agenda.
you to do that.
No,
You're our leader telling her to shut her mouth.
I didn't.
I believe in Congress, they have a time limit when they speak in a
This is not
situation like
Congress,
this.
Mike.
Well, it's a small Congress.
It's
This is
not.
a small
It's a public
country right
forum.
here.
It's
Saratoga
a
is a
public
small,
forum.
yeah.
You can talk as long as you want.
No. Not, after a while, you have the right to.
Okay,
move
well, I think
forward.
we can move on. I think we
Yeah, I'm gonna move
made our
on.
point.
Are you done?
I am, thank you.
Okay, we'll move on to special events application under town hall. Marie?
Mayor, members of the council, my name is Noel Manning. I'm the Director of Curriculum for Carbon 2, the school district here. Mr. Jennings is supposed to be here. He apologizes. He had a press issue he had to take care of. We asked me to come here instead, but we have put an application in for special events on Friday, August 18th to use Veteran Island for approximately 180 of our staff members. Essentially for back to school training, really though, this is kind of the end of our training process to have lunch with our staff members and just get everyone together and hopefully relax a little bit, play some games and just kind of build up the relationships with all of our staff. In one central location, that's especially critical for us to just strengthen the community ties between the southern end of our school district and the northern end. If you, I'm sure you're aware, we've got a number of teachers that span a considerable area in our county, and they don't always necessarily get to work together very often. We apologize for the lateness of the application. That is a mistake that we made in terms of the 30 days out. But that's why I'm here to answer any questions you have and hopefully get approval for what we're looking for. We do have a plan to carpool and bring in as many people as possible to the island without taking up a lot of space for parking. We have a plan to take care of all of the garbage. So we're not leaving behind any refuse on the island. We want to leave it in as good as condition as when we arrived. So happy to take any questions. Yeah.
Are you asking us to close the island because or, they'll still be open to the public?
I don't believe we're asking for the island to be closed.
Okay.
I guess it's just I believe, and I apologize, I was asked kind of at the last minute for this, but I believe I understand correctly that if it's over 50 people, we need special permission. So that's really what we're asking. We're not asking.
Okay,
for
all right.
Permissions to keep other people out.
Well. Michael. Emery, there's a place on the back for you to sign. Do you have any issues with this? McCall. There's a place for you to sign on these. Do you have any issues with them posting this? Town council.
No issues here.
I'm
Do
good.
I have
with
a
it.
motion to approve this special event permit? And
I'll make a motion to
Um,
approve the Carbon County School District picnic.
do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Very well, sir. We'll have this signed off and you can pick up a copy probably tomorrow.
Okay. Thank you very much. Appreciate your time.
Oh, next item on the agenda is the mill levy application. Ms. Marie.
This letter is to the Hamilton County Commissioners, and it says, Dear Board of County Commissioners, I'm staff Chuck Davis, duly elected and qualified mayor of the town of Saratoga, County of Carbon, state of Wyoming, pursuant to an ordinance of authority and instruction of the governing body of the town of Saratoga, Wyoming, and makes application on behalf of the town for a levy to provide funds and for the payment of current expenses during the fiscal year 2023-2024. And in connection with this said application respectfully done as follows. First, that said sum of money for the general purposes to be raised to meet expenditures for the said town of Saratoga during the fiscal year commencing July 1st, 2023 and June 30th, 2024 is hereby fixed at a suitable levy on the town of Saratoga, Wyoming assessed valuation. Second, that said sum of money for general purposes to be raised by a general levy upon all the real and personal property located within the corporate limits of the said town of Saratoga that may be taxable under the laws of the state of Wyoming, provided however, that in no event shall said levy for general purposes be in excess of 8 mils on the dollar. Third, that there is attached to and made a part thereof a certified copy of ordinance number 867, being an ordinance passed, approved, and adopted by the governing body of the town of Saratoga on the 20th day of June 2023, said ordinance being the authority and instructions for the application. Whereof your application prays that the Board of County Commissioners of Carbon County, Wyoming, may make an adequate levy to provide the town of Saratoga with monies for general purposes, provided however, that the levy shall not be in excess of 8 mils on the dollar. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and seal of the town of Saratoga, Wyoming, on this first day of August 2022.
Questions? Comments? I have a motion to go ahead with and send these applications off.
I make a motion.
Second,
I'll second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we'll move on to a resolution 2023-13.
This resolution is for the grants that we will be submitting for River Street water line replacement project. And this resolution reads, a resolution authorizing submission of a local government project ARPA grant application to the State Loan and Investment Board on behalf of the governing body for the town of Saratoga, for the purpose of replacing old failing and failed water distribution mains on River Street to ensure safe drinking water for town of Saratoga residents. Whereas the governing body for the town of Saratoga desires to participate in the local government project ARPA grant program to assist in financing this request. And whereas the governing body of the town of Saratoga recognizes the need for the request. Whereas the local government project ARPA grant program requires that certain criteria be met as described in the State Loan and Investment Board's rules and regulations governing the program. And to the best of our knowledge, this application meets those criteria. And whereas if any of the dispersed grant funds are later deemed to not comply with the SLIP criteria or the criteria of the ARPA, the grant applicant agrees to repay the ineligible grant funds within 15 days of such finding to the Office of State Lands and Investments. Now therefore be it resolved by the governing body of the town of Saratoga that a grant application in the amount of $700,000 be submitted to the State Loan and Investment Board for consideration at the next board meeting after application to assist in the funding of River Street waterline replacement projects. Be it further resolved that Chuck Davis, Mayor, is hereby designated as the authorized representative of the town of Saratoga to act on behalf of the governing body on all matters relating to this grant application. Passed, approved, and adopted this first day of August 2023.
Any questions on this? For the record, it's the continuation of this project where they ended the Spring Street out here on River, and it'll continue south on River Street as far as we can possibly go, but at least to the ditch. Any questions? Comments on this? Do I have a motion to accept this resolution as read?
I'll make a motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Opposed? We'll move on. Certification statement.
So this is also for that same application. The Office of State Lands and Investments, local government project ARPA grant certification statement. Whereas the governing body for the town of Saratoga hereby certifies that the funding being applied for under the local government project River Street program will be used in accordance with all requirements and conditions of the ARPA 2022 WIO laws, chapter 50, and this chapter. If it is determined that the funds were not used as intended, the recipient shall refund dispersed funds to the office within 15 days following notification. Furthermore, it is certified that I have read the information on evidence-based development and project demographic distributions. If my project has either denotation, I have included the requirements and the dollar amount of the total project spending that is allocated towards evidence-based interventions and or project demographic distribution in the verbiage of the project description. Be it further resolved that Chuck Davis, Mayor, is hereby designated as the authorized representative of the town of Saratoga to act on behalf of the governing body on all matters relating to its grant application. Passed, approved, and adopted this first day of August 2023.
Questions? Comments? Do I have a motion to go ahead and pass this certification statement?
Make a motion.
Do I have a second?
Oh.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We'll move forward. What I have here, the next one up is it's another engineering firm. It's called Yes, ECS Engineering Professional Service. I would like to just enter into agreement with them that they can work for the town of Encampment or Saratoga. I don't know why I keep saying Encampment tonight. Hung up on Encampment. But for the town of Saratoga, and it's just a service agreement, just like we would accept. We accepted from Engineer Associates, North Fork Engineering. There was another one in there. Anyway, is there any questions on this? I have a motion to go ahead and accept this as a client contract with ECS Engineering.
I'll make a motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay. We'll move on to the police department. Mike?
Thank you very much. Going to our call logs. Last 2 weeks since the last council meeting, we've had 174 calls for service that have gone through our dispatch here in Saratoga. Officers had written 7 citations for various things and performed another 16 specifically traffic stops for various violations, traffic violations. Have a couple of things to bring before the council. The first is under Axon invoice. This is an invoice that takes care of the tasers that the officers wear in the body worn cameras. This was an agreement that was entered into, as near as I can tell, in 2020. So this would be the 3rd year. It was a payment plan that we'd entered into for $9,540 a year that takes care of basically it was the purchase of the equipment and then the maintenance. There's a computer program, so it allows us access to view the body worn camera footage. There's storage on it as well. We've got 2 years left on that. So this invoice is $9,540, and I'd ask you to please pay that. With the addition on of Lieutenant John Moore, we had went and looked for the possibility of getting a couple more pieces of equipment. That not everybody's carrying a taser, and we're short in body worn camera right now. However, when Sergeant Kristen looked into it, the price actually came back what I thought was a little bit high. It would have actually ended up being $14,623. It was payable in 2 installments just to get pieces of that equipment. So at some point, if we could go ahead and get this invoice paid, and I would like to approach the company Axon. We probably can't get out of the contract that we have right now. But what we may be able to do is renegotiate and maybe upgrade, get the equipment that we need for, I'm hoping, the same or not much more money if we extend it out a little bit further. But I'll bring you back some options on that. But for right now, I think we are pretty much locked in for, this is an agreement that was signed in, looks like 2020.
Is this part of the payment on the equipment
Yes.
and the service agreement?
And the service agreement, yeah. My understanding was about $50,000 is when they did it originally. So it included the tasers, the equipment, and all the service agreement that went with it as well. But we'll look into that further, but like I say, we had entered into a 5-year agreement. I have not looked to see if it's breakable per se, but if nothing less, in fact, to go forward with it as to what we have right now. Maybe not updated, but updated this.
And the 14,000 would be to outfit an additional officer,
2 officers.
outfit 2 officers.
2 officers, and then add them to the service agreement stuff. Like I say, to me, it seemed a little bit, and that was for 2 years. So that had run through the timeframe of the 5-year agreement that we have on the equipment right now. So, but I'd like to have some opportunity to explore that a little bit further to see if we
That
can.
would include the body cam and
Taser.
taser.
Yeah. Yeah, they kind of run hand in hand.
Does that include the equipment needed in the car?
That is not, we have, right now, we don't have any cameras in car cameras. It's all body worn.
Okay.
Chief, do we have a protocol we follow for camera usage? I've never noticed you wearing those. So they always wear them?
Yes.
You always have one. And then when to engage them?
Yeah, the policies, I think, as we talked early on when I come on, are not stellar at this point. That is one of the policies that's being worked on. But yeah, it should be worn on about any time you have interaction with folks. It's supposed to be. I have a hard time remembering because I'm getting old, I guess. But yeah, it about any time that we get out of the car, you should have it on just to. And it isn't just necessarily, it's as good for the officer as it is for the public. I mean, it helps from false accusations in addition to documenting evidence and things that the officer sees on the scene. So it truly is outstanding. It's been needed for a long time. And the next thing I have is I'll kind of get out of line.
Now, before you move on,
Oh, yep.
the chair would entertain a motion to go ahead and approve this $9,540 payment to Axon. I would entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
All right.
Opposed? Okay, all right, Mike.
Okay, last week, we received an email from a lady down in Colorado. She was interested in discussing what body armor that we have and if any body armor. She had contacted an organization that's actually based out of Colorado, Shield 616. They're a nonprofit that is actually they're in the business of providing equipment, specifically body armor, vests and things to officers. I have talked with a representative from Shield 616 as well. We'll be going forward a little bit to look into what vests we can get. She's willing to donate the money to outfit us. So right now we are short 2 ballistic vests, or we'll need 2 ballistic vests. And if you'll remember when we kind of was going through the budget process, we talked about rifle armor and things like that. So, and carriers that match the gray as we go forward. So I'll be kind of talking with them. We do have money in the budget specifically for vests, and we had applied for a reimbursable vest grant. We haven't heard anything on the grant per se yet. There may be a possibility that the vest grant money from that and the Shield 616 would work hand in hand. But really when they first got a hold of us is just let us know what you need and we'll go from there. So we're just waiting to kind of get into the nuts and bolts of that. So this was more of just to update you where we were on in that process.
She reached out to you?
She did. She didn't say how she ended up with Saratoga Police Department's name. She did tell me she lives in Colorado and that she was interested in donating to Shield through Shield for the vest. She's got a family that's in law enforcement and she wanted to do something to help make officers safe.
Wow.
So we'll make sure we may have an opportunity, depending on how this progresses. We may have an opportunity to Shield 616 is sponsoring a Bike Across Colorado deal. And it sounds like they're going to end up possibly in Walden. And they preliminarily kind of asked if this goes through, if maybe we could go down and meet them and do a little picture taking event with them. So I told them that we would certainly arrange something like that. So I was kind of excited to have that opportunity. That'll help us out a lot.
Tell her thank you from the council.
Absolutely. As it goes forward, we'll try to do, I don't know if publicly she'll want to be, recognized, but certainly Shield 616.
Well, if she does, we'll be more than happy to recognize.
All right, we'll keep that in mind. And I'd like Lieutenant Moore to come up with just a little bit. I've asked Lieutenant Moore to look into some vehicle options. We had set aside, or earmarked, I should say, $75,000 in the vehicle fund. It was coming out of impact funds. I think I'd like to remind you that during some of those discussions that we had is we did kind of discuss the possibility of maybe being able to find some used vehicles and giving us some options. So I had asked Lieutenant Moore to look into that a little bit. He's found some vehicles and I'll give us, or at least explain the options that we have up till this.
Mayor, council. So I've actually come up with 3 different options for us to look at for vehicles. Of course, the first one would be a brand new vehicle, which is a sticker price is going to be 47 to 58-ish thousand right now for a police type package vehicle. Upfit costs, which would be the cage, radios, lighting package, siren, all the equipment to go into it is going to run between 10 and 20,000. And the biggest downfall of new vehicles right now is build times is running on the low side average is 2 to 9 months to actually get a new vehicle into service. But when I was shopping, I actually found a couple of, 2 2020 Dodge Durango SSVs that already have the upfit complete. They were lease returns out of an agency in Missouri. They're currently in Illinois. One has 19,118 miles with a dealer list on it of 42,795. The other matching twin Durango has 24,289 miles with a dealer list of $41,795. After speaking with the dealer, they agreed they would do a package price for both vehicles at $80,000. There is a shipping price on each vehicle of $950. So to actually get the vehicles and get them here for 2, it'd be $81,900. Both do still have a remaining factory to factory or factory bumper to bumper warranty till 36,000 miles or November of this year. And they both do still have a powertrain warranty to 100,000 miles or November of 2025. Both vehicles are already upfitted with lights, sirens, prisoner cage in them. The only issue with the light package is it's only blue lights because it's back east. So that's something we'd have to look at if we'd want to retrofit the light bars to add red into the light bar or switching out the grill lights or different options there. The only additional costs we would need for these vehicles would be MDT mounts for our computers in the vehicles, which would be about $600 each. And I did some estimates on changing the lighting. If we wish to do it right away, it'd be between $500 and $1,500, depending on if we have to replace the whole light bar or if we can get just that section to replace from Whelen, which is their Whelen light bars and sirens in the vehicles.
Are those 4-wheel drive?
They're all-wheel drive.
Okay.
And they're all-wheel drive special service models. And so option 2 would be about $86,100 for delivery. Both vehicles, and we'd be able to have those in service in 2 to 4 weeks. And option 3 would be doing just one of those vehicles for new if we wanted to, but that'd be at the full list price. So that'd be either $42,795 or $41,795 plus the $950 delivery fee.
So to get them here, set them up, what little setup we got to do, you're looking at about 86,000 for both.
Correct. And all we have to add to them is radios, which have already been ordered on grants.
Mm-hmm.
We'd have to wait for those to get here, but for now, I think we would be able to take apart some of the older trucks that would be ending up probably selling off with the replacement of these 2. So we could patch them together with those until the new equipment gets here for the radios.
They want $980 to ship each vehicle,
$950 each vehicle. Correct.
$950.
Plus the lights and the add-ons and things, right? So we're looking at
Well, and these vehicles,
89 or
um,
90,000.
yes, if we end up doing the upfitting, if we have to change out the lights, it'll depend on if we can just change half the light bar to add red into it, or if we have to replace the entire light bar. That's where it's $500 to $1,500 each. Depending, and actually statutorily, we've gone through it. We're not required to have red. But just to be more uniform with everybody on west of the Mississippi, we'd add red.
You need 2 vehicles?
Honestly, the 308-ish era trucks we have right now have all been in the shop in the past week.
We put about $2,000 in those vehicles in the last couple of weeks. One of them in particular has been taken apart to a degree. So it's really, it doesn't have a radio or it doesn't have a light bar. It's got some warning lights. We could absolutely get by with one vehicle. absolutely no problem. The reason that I asked Lieutenant Moore to give us these options is because I realized that it was above the $75,000 that we talked about, but I wanted that option to come before the council. So you could decide if you wanted to dip in and get that. It is a good deal. Do we need? No. Would it be good? Because I think that, like I say, we've got some vehicles that are not mileage wise, it's kind of, we're the truck that I'm driving, the billboard. We've got, I think it's got 117,000 miles on it. Truck that John's now driving's got 131. And the 2012, which is actually probably, it's got 77,000 miles on it. But when I drove it this morning, the headlights won't come on, and it's got something going on with, I don't want to say it's transmission because it's got some wheel speed sensor, some speed sensor lights going on. So I do think that if we don't get, we are going to have to probably put a little bit of money, but we did have some money budgeted for vehicles repaired or vehicle repairs too. So we will certainly, kind of whatever the council decides to go with, we'll be happy with. But we wanted to present those options.
Do you have a rough idea of what you could recoup from getting rid of the old and?
Not really. I attempted to, but I'm still being told that the used car market is very volatile. So it really just kind of depends on the moment in time when you say, what will you give for this? We do have some items that, some surplus items the town has. There was a talk about the possibility of maybe doing a sale, but you never know who you're gonna get for bidders at an auction type of thing too. So just in rough, I would say probably somewhere between $3,000 to $7,000 a vehicle. Just a very rough what present, because like I say, the other thing, I guess, the mileage wise, I talked about the mileage, but I forgot to mention, we're probably talking in the neighborhood of well over 10,000 hours on the engines because unfortunately,
Idle time.
calls. Yeah, there's a lot of idling time. I don't like to, but quite honestly, with all the electronics and stuff, the computers and stuff, every time you turn them off, you got to reboot everything and everything. So they pretty much, and safety wise, it's issues. But I think that would probably be just a safe guess between 3 and 7.
Have you identified if you went that route and you're looking at 90K approximately, and we've got 75 budgeted, where we would need to find that 15K?
Well, I was hoping, yeah, and I would like to ask if we could dip into that impact money again, a little bit of it. The money's there. And that would be the source that I would ask that the council look at.
You off the top of your head know how much is left in that fund that we pulled the 75 out of?
I don't, but I know that there is more allotted to the police.
Yeah. I did. I knew that too. Questions? What do you think, Jacob?
I think if we only need one of them, that we should probably go that route. The way the budget was looking and stuff this year, I would save us $4,000 if we buy one next year too, but we don't know if we'll do that. So my thoughts on it.
Mike?
I would say one. I like a deal, but Jacob's logic makes sense.
Kathy?
I agree.
Go with one.
Is that $900 and some dollars? Is that insured if something was to happen to them? And
I don't know for sure.
Transport.
I just asked the dealer what the shipping cost would be to get it here, and that's what they quoted me back.
this something we have to decide on tonight, or can we?
I would think the shipper would have insurance.
Yeah.
They just about have to, I believe.
One thing about deciding on it tonight, who knows how long they're gonna sit there. That's the problem.
Yeah.
That's my concern.
One of them was actually already sold and then came back. Basically, the deal fell through, so.
Could we get,
Sounds like we'd have the choice of.
could we get the documentation and all of the specifics clearly defined and answer the question about insurance and all of that, and then get a final dollar amount and send that over and then go from there?
Sure. Absolutely.
I mean, I think we could preliminarily.
What I would
say
ask the
that
council,
approve
and that's a good idea.
Yeah.
What I'd ask the council to do is the approval to buy one tonight, but we'll get all the final documents before we set the final number.
That's it. Absolutely. And once again, thank you. Like I say, my recommendation was really for the one vehicle too, that I did want to give council the opportunity to make the decision on that. Thank you very much.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to move ahead to purchase one vehicle for the police department pending additional details.
Do I have a second to that motion?
I'll
Second it.
All in favor?
I
Opposed? Okay.
make sure they unload all the people from Chicago that we don't need.
I get something knocked off. Get something in.
No.
Do you have anything else on the police department?
No, that was it.
Okay, we'll move on to the fire department. And they are busy, all the firemen are working on the Woods ball field concession stand tonight, so they passed along to me that their 100-year anniversary party went well. It was also a large crowd. Talked about the swimming pool and the pickleball tournament being busy. This was going on at the same time. It sounded like it was a heck of a turnout at all events. So, and it was a job well done. I went to that one. I don't swim. I swim like a rock. So, but this was well done. The fire department did well. Then the following day, they had Fire Cat come in and they had tested 11,000 feet of hose, which was tested up by the old clinic. And hose strung everywhere. Up there. So that was all they have, and they're continuing to have training on Wednesday nights. Okay. Moving on to the recreation department. Okay.
So we have a resolution on the pickleball t-shirt per Kylie's suggestion, our attorney's suggestion. We included the $20 fee or the $20 registration fee. We included a t-shirt with that. And then we ended up raising money through raffle items and donations and things. So we did, and I can do a report on the summary of totals there, but we ended up making $11.21 from the day. And then we have just a few t-shirts remaining from the registrations after all of our participants received one. So I would make a motion that we pay this invoice for Cowboy Couture for $741.
Do I have a second in that motion?
That comes out of that rec money, is that? I'll second
Yeah.
that.
There were donations and things, so we ended up for about 400 in the flat on that one. So it covers the expense of the t-shirts.
All in favor?
I
Aye. Opposed? Okay,
And then otherwise, our rec director began today. So we went down to the facility and I gave her giant ring of keys, and she's settling in at her office. She's got her equipment, and she met the PVCC staff. Joe and Chrissy were over there. So she got the lay of the area, and she's going to be working on getting settled and running through policies and statutes and ordinances and all that fun stuff. And we'll be meeting and introducing her to the rec commission on Monday. Otherwise, open gym continues, the hours continue through August. Pool hours are going to be affected by the teenagers. We've got a lot of our teenage staff who are involved in sports. So their practices and things will begin soon. So we're expecting to back down on the number of hours that we offer open swim in our classes. So just keep an eye out for the change in hours, and we'll definitely announce that. But our lifeguards availability is going to change here pretty soon.
What's your idea on how long you're gonna try to keep it open with staff and everything?
You know, I think that pending weather, in the past, we've gone past Labor Day through maybe the middle of September. It sort of depends on how the weather looks and staffing. Yep.
Are some of the kids that aren't involved, are they attempting to work weekends? Are they
Some.
volunteer if they can?
They can, some of them who are going back to school, and then we've got some older 18, 20-year-olds that are gonna continue to work full-time and part-time. And then we've got a couple of late shift people. So late in the summer, we've got a couple of the older ladies that will come on and fill in some shifts. So we're trying to get some afternoon shifts covered and some weekend shifts covered, but once activities begin, they kind of
Yeah,
run away.
it's difficult.
Mhm.
Well, what I would like to do, since we had such a late start getting it open, if we can keep it open longer,
Mhm.
that would be good. Especially to the people who bought season passes and stuff
Yeah.
like that. That would be great.
We will definitely try. We're shooting for, right now, Whisper's last update was we're shooting for middle of September.
Cool.
So as soon as we get confirmation on who's staying and hours committed, we'll let everybody know.
Great. Anything else on recreation?
Nope.
Okay, that money will go back in to the budget, but it can be spent. Just whatever. We'll move forward with that. Okay, we'll move on to Department of Public Works. Everybody that's not aware, this is our new DPW guy. His name's Emery Penner. He started today, and been a little bit overwhelmed with a lot of stuff. He will also be your zoning person. That's McCall. She's the chairman of the board. And are you prepared to do any type of report? If not, I'll take it.
Yeah, on some of those invoices, as far as the payment invoices go, I think you got a better grip on.
Yeah.
But I just want to say I appreciate this opportunity to come here. I appreciate the job. We're excited and we're hard to do a good job for it.
Welcome.
We're excited to have you.
He stepped forward today. He had all the members of the street and water and sewer department in. He bought him pizza. And he did a little orientation on what he felt Public Works was, which I thought was very good. I told him this is his department. I'm not gonna micromanage. Just like I do with the police department. If there's complaints, I'll bring them to you and let you deal with them, but that's the way we'll go forward from there. Same way with the planning and zoning, and he will be at the meetings. So, and he'll deal with Andrew Myers, which is the building inspector. And which I think Andrew's gonna try to be here on Friday. I think he's off on Fridays. Try to come in and meet you. So we'll move on. You'll look at the invoices. We have 2 from 71 Construction. This is for all the pothole patching we've been doing between the Saratoga Inn, the Pitch Pike Road from the Saratoga Inn up to the Stone Gates, to Elm Street. They're on Main now. They patched on 11th and 9th. 71 is a company out of Rollins that we've got the least amount from because it's hard to get it from them. To include both of their invoices, They have one invoice for $9,382.80 and another invoice for $4,184.40. Could I get a motion to pay 71 Construction,
I'll make a motion.
both of these invoices?
Yes.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we'll move down to Kilgore. Real quick, and then I'll come back to the others. On Kilgore's, we've got to resend the invoices back. When Karina was going over the invoices, they charged us sales tax. And so she's in the process, they're emailing back and forth. What I'd like to get approval from the council so we can pay it. Pending getting the sales tax taken off, I'd like the motion to go ahead and pay this invoice, less sales tax. And we don't, do you have that total by chance?
It was about 16,500 tax. It's going less than that.
$16,645.70.
So less taxes. Can I get a motion to go ahead and pay this invoices?
I'll make a motion.
Do I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. We'll move up to Van Dyce invoice. This is for chemical. We spent $10,000. This is for mosquito spraying. We spent $10,188.50. This is all reimbursable. As soon as we submit the grant to the county pays for the chemical. We received a grant confirmation for them for 30. Was it 30 or 31? I think it was 30. It was at least 30,000 that they give us grant money to buy chemicals to spray mosquitoes. So this is a reimbursable invoice, this 10,001. And right now, the last count I had, we're sitting at about $25,000 on total chemicals that we have purchased for mosquito control. Do I have a motion to go ahead and pay that invoice?
I'll make a motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the Adura invoice, this is. They're putting it under Adura. This was TO Enterprise when they started the Spring Street project. This is the final payment to them for the Spring Street project of $4,646.25. This is also will be reimbursed because this comes out of their liquidated damages that everybody agreed upon at the last council meeting. So this money will be given back to the town. So do I have a motion to pay this $4,646.25 invoice?
Make a motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. The only thing else is the guys are working on water taps. There's several of those to do with all the new homes we've got. Emery's met with engineers on the new project. He's also getting involved a little bit with this ARPA grant that we read the resolution on tonight. And we'll move forward from there on that. Do you have anything you want to add? Okay. All right, great. Thanks, Emery. We'll move on, reports from boards. We'll move on to the Community Center Joint Powers Board.
I don't have anything to report apart from, we have that MOU, the updated MOU, and that's been distributed. So we'll discuss that at our next meeting. That's Monday, August 14th at 4:30 at the Community Center.
Okay. Is that all?
Mhm.
Thank you. We'll move on to the Water Sewer Joint Powers Board.
Other than it looked like they tore the old water tower down. I believe everything went well. I'm not real sure. I've been busy at work, so.
Well, this company they brought in did a fabulous job. They really did. They were in and out pretty much in the day. It is on a YouTube video, if somebody wants to pull up the YouTube video and see it. Kind of neat coming down,
It's cool.
so. Their next meeting,
Nice.
August 9th at 6 P.M. at the community center. Planning Commission. You got the floor, lady.
Good evening. I guess I'll just give you the update from the whole last month because I missed our last town council meeting because I was sick. So last month we hosted a training for the planning commission. It was put on by WyoPass, which is the Wyoming Planning Association, something. We had our county planner and the city planner from Laramie come over, and we met with our current commission and for 2 hours, just kind of talk through what the expectations and the authority and kind of what the planning commission should be responsible for. And then we talked a lot about what the zoning officer's responsibility and how they work together and how we work with the council. And so it was really very beneficial. We recorded the meeting, which Marie, I don't know if Brenda talked to you about, I'd love to get the recording off or somehow share it. There was a couple of people who couldn't be here. So it's recorded on our Zoom system. And if somehow we could either upload that or email it or somehow share it.
They were just all deleted. And I had no idea. So I will look and see if we can recover.
That is going to be really unfortunate.
Because I had no idea that.
Yeah, I talked to Brenda a couple weeks ago and she said she was going to ask you how to do that. Oh, that's going to be so heartbreaking.
So I will see if I can get them recovered. But
Okay.
I will.
Yeah, I believe the date was August 18th, 16th. I can get you the actual date.
July.
Oh, yeah, July. I can get you the actual date.
It was a Thursday, right?
Yeah, the Thursday, the second week of July.
I still review the emails on the searching. Whoever need to message me.
Okay, well, hopefully we can recover that because it was really great and I would love to be able to share that with any new commission members we have, and also was hoping to share with Emery, and I know Chuck unfortunately had to miss that. And so,
Yeah, I caught like the last 3 slides.
yeah. Let's see, what else have we been up to? Also I would like for us to become official members of WyoPass, which is $250, which did get included in our budget under training. And so I don't know if what we need to do to spend that money.
What will WyoPass do for us?
So it's like a community. So there's community boards, there's we have questions, we can reach out to this community. They also provide a training every spring. It's like a 2 or 3 day training that all of our commission members will be able to attend. That's included with the $250. And it just felt like since WyoPass volunteered their time to come down and do this training for us, that it felt like we should be members of it. Maybe that's not a good enough excuse, but really, I would love to be able to, for our whole commission to attend the training in the spring.
Do you have how we go about all this?
How to become members.
To become members?
We would just sign up online. We would
Okay.
just need to figure out how we pay for it.
Okay.
I believe it's $250, and that includes up to 10 members of our commission. And we can,
Bias to anything? Like,
no, I think it's just yearly.
no, not expenditure wise, like. I guess our other towns and stuff going to have input on what we should or shouldn't do here.
I don't think so. I think they just have a lot of online references. There's like community boards that you can participate in. Their list of contractors or
Best practices.
best practices. It's just a reference for
Community type.
community planning commissions.
There probably are a lot of other municipalities involved with that. So. They have a budget. I believe we could find money in their budget for it.
Yeah.
The chair would entertain a motion for these guys to, for the planning commission to become a member of Wild Pass.
I'll make the motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, figure out what we gotta do and get with, probably Brenda or Karina. Or you can try to catch Marie. She's in and out quite a bit. So,
We got our contract signed with OB officially last week, and we got the go-ahead letter from YDOT to proceed with our project, so we can start moving forward on our planning, our master plan for the Pathways project.
did you get a copy of that notice to proceed?
I've been in contact with OB, and we're talking about, we're putting together a list of steering committee members right now. We want to hold a steering committee meeting the beginning of September. They want to try to meet with the planning and zoning commission in September, and they want to come to a town council meeting in September just to introduce themselves and kind of kick off the project. And then we're hoping for our first public engagement open house to be either mid or late September is kind of what we're aiming at to start.
Would you,
moving forward.
just for Emery's information, give him a brief of what this is all about?
So we received a transportation alternative grant from YDOT to do a planning study for Pathways master plan in town, in addition to an ADA transition plan. So it includes anything from sidewalks, safe routes to school, to recreational paths, like soft paths around the lake, or however big we want to dream. So this is kind of just that was touched on in the 2016 comp plan, but they didn't get to spend a lot of time digging in deeper to what the community wants to see. And then as a result of this master plan, we're supposed to kind of get some phased projects with more concrete estimations on what it will cost to execute, what will it cost to maintain, what are the priorities of the community. And then from that, we can use that information to go after additional grants to help execute some of the pathway dreams.
Were you ever involved with anything like that where you come from with?
We did like a walkability study as like an amendment to our transportation plan. Kind of same kind of thing, addressing like ADA access, sidewalk slopes, things like that. How to, you paint bicycle lanes in certain areas, how to use more cost-effective ways to direct pedestrian traffic. So instead of like doing a bubble with concrete and everything, you paint a bubble, try it out, just stuff like that.
Okay, so he's got knowledge, so good.
And so was there an engineering?
So we put out an RFP this spring, and we ended up selecting a planning firm out of Denver. So it's actually like 3 firms that got together. So one specializes in transportation engineering. One is like community spaces, parks, pathways, and then another one is they're old ex-YDOT engineers. They're out of Cheyenne. I think it's called FEA. And they're 2 people that have like over 30 years experience working on YDOT, and since YDOT will be a major.
I've got a packet on them. I'll have to pull it up and then get it to you.
I can show you the proposal. We
That'd be great.
have that, yeah. So that's exciting to finally get to move forward on some of this after a few frustrating months of getting contracts signed. We are working still on a short-term rental permit process where we kind of came up with a draft permit application, and we've just been kind of going through that and tearing it apart, rebuilding it, and that process continues. So we got about halfway through the permit last time, and then once we have a more thorough draft of it, we hope to open up to a public workshop and get more feedback from the community. And then last note, I reached out with Chuck's approval. Apparently, Yvonne Johnson with our economic development, Department County Economic Development, has received a grant from the EPA with brownfield cleanup. And apparently as part of this grant, they will basically just evaluate potential brownfield buildings and give you a report on if it's contaminated, if it is actually a brownfield building, and then depending on how contaminated it is, potentially we'll do the whole cleanup of this brownfield site. All included in the grant. It wouldn't be at any cost to the town. And so I asked Chuck if we could pursue it about the potential of the old water treatment plant. It seems like that space is really valuable riverfront property that's owned by the town, and it seems like it could be used for something that would benefit the town more than
Nice.
an abandoned water treatment plant. So I've been.
Paul and I have had several.
And so the contact with that is very fresh, but just to know that I will bring more information in the future on kind of what that looks like and if we are a candidate for that grant money, and it could be a potential new project.
And on her behalf, it probably does need to come down. I was in it just the other day. It would take a lot to clean it up. There's moss. It was the old water plant. There's a vault underneath it that holds water. They have to keep the water in there or float. There's mold growing in there. It would be really difficult to salvage. Plus, it was right in the middle of the floodplain. Mr. Woods.
Just, are we talking just the former water treatment plant or the old police station as well?
We're talking more of the police station as well.
Yeah, I think
There's a key, the big hiccup right in there is there, I believe it's a 14-inch line runs between the old police department and the old water plant where the guys have their office. So, you know, for one thing, it'd be difficult to build on. You'd have to split it there or something. But there's been a lot of talk. There's been talk of eventually trying to find the guys a new place to have their shop and everything, so it's not right in the middle of town. But this was one, who knows, there may be asbestos in this building. It's pretty old, you know, you don't know. But right now it's a glorified storage area of junk. I was just in there, so. That was some of their ideas that they're kicking around the planning commission.
that's what we're working on. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Next we're still on the planning commission. We have a letter of interest for a new member of the planning commission board. I've spoken with McCall. As McCall stated, she's been at several of the meetings for the last probably 3-4 months. And she showed interest, speaks up in the meeting. McCall asked that we go ahead and get her appointed tonight. Would you like to come up and Jodelle and share some of your letter that you presented?
I'll just go ahead and read my letter, and that way I'm not shooting from my hip and say something I don't need to say or say it twice or get carried away. For those of you that don't know, I am Jodelle Hone. I'm here tonight, instead of sending this letter, to ask for your consideration in my appointing me to the Planning and Zoning Commission for the town of Saratoga. I was born and raised here in Saratoga, and I have resided in Carbon County my entire life. I have attended a few of these board meetings in the recent months, and I have really been thinking about the interest I have with the changes our town is experiencing. I feel I need to give back to my community in some way for all that this town has provided to me and many others. By serving on this commission, it would allow me to help make decisions affecting the growth that we are seeing while still maintaining the uniqueness that we all love. I thank you for your time that each of you give each and every month, making this town a better place to live. I look forward to being more active within our town government, whether I'm appointed to this board or whether it is just attending these council meetings. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you. Does the council have any questions for Jodelle?
I don't think so.
Do I have a motion to appoint Joe Dell home to the planning and zoning?
I don't know. I'll make a motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Hi,
Aye.
Welcome
Thank you.
aboard.
thank you.
Your next meeting is next Tuesday. Okay. We'll move on to, if there's nothing else from the planning commission, we'll move on to the recreation commission.
Commission has nothing to report at this time. We're looking forward to meeting our new rec director. Next meeting is August 7th at 6 o'clock in this room.
Okay. We'll move on to the yes, Mr. Woods.
Good question. And it's something I wanted to ask you earlier, but I didn't want to belabor your points. I wonder if it'd be possible for you to ask for counsel in terms of the gifting. What is different from what the Recreation Commission has been doing compared to, say, the town of Encampment and their community barbecue that say for example, they held this weekend.
And I have no idea what they do under community barbecue. You know, that was something that Kylie kind of touched on a little bit and how she said it was. It's one thing to do it for like a set department, but when you involve the entire community, she felt that it was still a gray area, but she felt more comfortable in approving that being done than just a single department. But I will speak with her again on that. We'll move on to the Saratoga Airport Advisory Board. Not a lot to report there. We do have one invoice on the very back of your for Rude and Associates. And it's part of their master plan. It's a lump sum of $3,200. Airport Board has this in their budget. And I would take a motion to go ahead and pay this invoice.
I'll make a motion.
Have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Their next meeting is August 14th at 3 p.m. here at the town hall. Yes,
3:30.
3:30.
they're kicking off this month on their master plan. They waited the grants, they're gonna start applying for grants on that, but their master plan is kicking off the start of this month. They have set aside, they have contacted people in the community who said as an advisory board. I do not have that list of names. There probably will be, I'm sure there will be, but nothing has been scheduled yet. But they've been kind of waiting for August to get here. They've been just doing little updates, getting all their, they got all their COVID money, Black Cat lined up, all their grants are caught up now, I do believe, working with Jesse, and I'm gonna ask them to at least zoom in at the next meeting, the next council meeting, so they can bring us up to speed. They can talk about their master plan and how it's gonna go forward. But they've been waiting for August. I believe that's all we have on that. We'll move to the South Central Wyoming Medical Service Board. Marie?
So a few of us have expiring terms, and so I am starting my 5th year. Elections, and I am still again the secretary for terms. Okay, we also have just completed the plumbing in the ambulance barn here in Saratoga, and bids have been received for the drywall. Kathy McPherson has graciously volunteered to help the board with a few things that we needed. One is work on the third amendment to the Joint Powers Board agreement discussion. And part of it is, here, we are trying to change our physical and mailing address to Saratoga instead of the address in encampment. One part of it is in the future, if we wanted to dissolve Schwinn's, and there isn't discussion on it at all, but we realized when we were reading through our bylaws and our rules that we don't have anything in place for that. We don't know how it would take place, so we just wanted very clear I guess, instructions on how to do that if in the future we needed to do that in any way. Also, we wanted to clarify in our bylaws too in when we apply for grants. This past year, we've approached all the municipalities and all of the grants. And so we would like to change it to where the board would be able to approve the smaller grants that didn't fiscally affect the towns, and then approach the towns and the larger ones where it would affect them. So that way things would be a little bit more efficient. Our encampment open house on May 20th was well attended, but no applications were received. If anyone is interested in being a driver or an EMT, let us know. We are more than happy to have more volunteers. And then recently we have had 9 transfer requests in 18 days from the new hospital. And then Memorial Hospital was called twice for 2 transfers because of our unavailability. And then in encampment, we had a heart saver CPR class and 5 people attended it. We also had a class here in Saratoga and only 1 person had attended that. And let's see here. We have had 2 applications for volunteers recently. And Mac Miller was rehired as a driver here in Saratoga, which is fantastic. We are still working with the town of Hannah and CCSD number 2 on acquiring land for our ambulance barn over there. And then we have some issues with a few of our ambulances. There is ambulance 267, it still continues to sit at Casper Ford. It's pending a back ordered engine wire harness. Engine 272 in Medicine Bow has had some electrical work completed in Rock Springs. So we are still looking for ambulances. We didn't receive any through an auction this last time. And then, sorry, I'm nearing the end, I promise. And then we provided service to 286 patients who reside in the Schwimm service area and 108 outside the service area for a total of 394 calls. 57 of those calls were on I-80. And let's see here.
Is that year to date?
That is within the last quarter.
Okay.
Here. And we did some math and it looks like Schwinn's receives less than 40% of the actual billed amount after insurance discounts are applied and other discounts offered to non-injured patients and those with high deductibles and co-insurance. And a lot of our patients that are on I-80, we don't receive a lot of payment on them. There are a lot that just don't pay at all. And we also have 1 board seat in Hannah that is still unfilled. So anyone interested from Hannah, please let us know. And then our next meeting is August 21st, 6 p.m. at Riverside Town Hall.
Does Encampment Riverside still have a crew? Do they still run it occasionally, part-time?
There's a lot of difficulty finding younger volunteers in that area.
So we pretty much respond, Saratoga respond.
We have we have maybe one or two drivers over there, and one that might be EMR, but, we're looking for more people to help out on that side.
Any questions? Okay, we'll move on to new business. Any new business to be brought before this council?
Oh,
Sheep.
Oh, the last council meeting, we went forward with Scott Kerb requesting to fence off some area over here in the 7,200 district for grazing purposes. And he'd come back to, Mike took care of it with him. He'd come back with a list of, I think there was 10 names on there, Mike.
Okay.
And they all approved. So we gave him the blessing to go ahead and fence it off. Well, since then, I've had one complaint come in today that the sheep are getting out of his fence. So I'm asking the council, do we shut him off? Or since the people gave him permission, but now we got sheep getting out of his pen, or do we tell him to tighten up his fence? How would the council like to proceed?
Try and tighten up his fence.
Everybody's feelings.
I agree with that.
did he actually put in an application for a variance?
We didn't actually do a variance. We did the kind of way it was discussed in the meeting. I took it as we would bring the list of names back. And he went to all the households around because I know who lives over there. And just went off that.
I'm just wondering because if the variance is in place, then maybe there are stipulations or requirements. Or do we just go back to him and say, fix your fence?
Actually, we didn't put a full variance in effect. We left it in his name. It's kind of how I took it out of the council meeting. To put a full variance into effect, he'll have to start, if we want to do that, he'll have to go forward and go to the planning commission to even begin that.
What are your thoughts on that one?
He has a good thought on variances.
I don't like variances unless there's a circumstance that like happened years and years ago that you can't control. I think you can get into, say that you got a slope that wouldn't be allowed to be developed. But say it's 30% slope. Maybe you can only develop if it goes up to 25, maybe you give a guy 5% so he can use his lot. But with stuff like that, I think you can get into, you start doing a variance for sheep, then somebody wants a variance for a cow, and it's just a slippery slope. I think you reserve those for extremely rare circumstances.
And it's
Which is a good
sufficient,
thought.
yeah, and so it's sufficient just to notify him. He's got the approval of his surrounding neighbors, but now there's a problem. So we just.
There was a complaint. And I drove over there and there were 2 sheep out. So. That's why I brought it back to the council, because we were the ones that kind of made the decision that you come back with the landowner's permission, that we would let it go. But strictly in the council's hands now.
Has Scott been notified yet that the sheep are running him?
Yeah, but he hasn't returned the call. The complainant even tried to call him, but he hadn't returned her call.
We give him a certain amount of time to fix the fence.
Say I don't see an issue if we give him a chance to fix it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sheep are notorious for getting out.
So is that how the council would like to proceed?
Yes.
So we give him how long?
A week.
We give him a week to fix the fence, and if they continue to get out, we have to have.
Then
We
it'd
can
be an
notify
issue.
him of that.
Yeah.
If they continue to get out, then we'll have to.
Yeah.
Make a different arrangements.
Mhm.
Council in agreement to that?
Yep.
Yes.
Let's put it in form of a motion.
I'll make a motion that we notify Scott Herbst to fix his fence so the sheep cannot get out.
And if it's a continuum.
If it continues to happen, we'll have to make plans accordingly.
Okay. Do I have a second to that?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Any other new business? Seeing none, we have no reason for an executive session to have a motion to adjourn this meeting.
I'd make a motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting adjourned.